Welcome to Thriving Tribesmen. My name is Kuri, your host, and I'm excited to be making this episode. I'm making one of those episodes that I made a few months ago, actually, and it was me reacting to a post on Reddit. So there's no names. It's usually on Reddit. It's just, I think I'm probably the only one in this group that has used their actual name within the group, because I also wanted it to be easier for people to find me if I give advice. So yeah, there's a pseudonym, so I'm not going to say the pseudonym as well, so to keep it confidential. But it was an interesting post because I think most of the people within a sexless relationship are living through this, and it's one of those things that we don't realize it's actually happening, and we just put it down to a personality issue, but the real issue is something else. So it's sort of, the headline is, does the lack of intimacy lower your tolerance of other issues? And really where he's getting at is that he probably gets quite angry, get frustrated, quite furious with a lot of things. And really, if things were a little bit different, you would handle it a little bit better. So he actually goes on to say, I carry the mental load in our marriage, the kids, the house, all of it. It's all on me. And I know most guys are probably in this situation where I think generally, even for the guys that I speak to, generally most of the males are breadwinners. They really earn quite high. It's very rare where I meet people that are sort of both couples or both people within the couple are earning really decent money and they're really in a good place. But generally, most women default to looking after the children, especially if there's children involved. They sort of take a back seat. The career takes maybe they take a lower paying job in order to stay with the kids and be more be with the kids, and therefore the mental load in terms of paying the bills and really taking care of shit around the house ends up being your thing. So I can see where this guy's coming from, and it says, yet somehow, I'm going to continue to read, sorry, and somehow I feel like it wouldn't bother me as much if I felt wanted inside. And I think most people feel this way. And I think this is spot on because he's really pointing out the actual core problem. The core problem isn't the sex, and he's actually realizing that he needs to feel wanted, and we have been programmed to feel that way as men, and as nature has made it that in order for the species to continue growing, men have to continuously desire sex and desire connection through partners. And therefore, I mean, we've also obviously got now socialized, and we've got all these other things like marriage and all these other social constructs. But we have got brain chemicals that are released and make us feel good when we have sex, and there is closeness that you feel, there's sort of excitement that you feel, and there's all these feelings of love and connection that you feel when you have sex. So we end up seeking all of that. And again, if you think about it, it's probably the highest form of acceptance, like the fact that she's willing to actually have sex with you, and the fact that she's willing to have sex with you even though you've had kids and you've been together for such a long time. It's just that consistent validation that you're looking for, then yes, you're still worth it. Yes, I still want to have sex with you. Yes, I still desire you. And when you can have that, it's so empowering. It's so amazing. And I can see why it becomes a very difficult scenario, because you're doing all these things in order to try and keep things together within the house. And it was like, when I read this is because sometimes I'm doing the laundry while they're outside playing with the kids, and it sends me into a spiral. Sometimes I'm cooking dinner while they watch TV, and that sends me into a spiral. And if I felt desired, I wouldn't feel as terrible, and I had very high self-esteem. If I had any levels of I would have higher self-esteem if I had some intimacy level. So that's another part which I think is a thing within men. And I think one of the quickest things that we program with men is for people to be completely disengaged from sex. And what I mean by that, I use disengaged, sometimes I use indifference to sex. That if you allow sex to determine your happiness, it actually affects your ability to get more sex. So, which is or if you look at it from this perspective, it absolutely changes everything. The reason why we've managed to get our clients a result within 2 weeks is the fact that the quicker they can let go of that sort of validation seeking behavior where I need sex in order to feel happy. Generally, if they let go of that pretty quickly, they will get sex pretty quickly. Because usually when you do that, it then creates this outcome dependency, and then your whole state and the way you navigate the world is always governed by whether you're having sex or not. And I think it's one of the most destructive things, because yes, she's able now probably, and yes, she can do it. Yes, you're not having sex right now, but there's extreme circumstances where if she was rendered in a coma and that's the mother of the children, does that mean that your marriage is now and void because you can't have sex? So you have to rewire yourself and think there has to be something more than sex that you are seeking within the relationship. And really your self-esteem should be a direct result of different inputs that you're putting within the day. So I'll give you an example. For me, there's certain things that I know I need to be doing in order to continue having high levels of self-esteem. Sometimes it does drop, and it's just because of a series of things that I'm not doing. So for example, if I don't go training for an extended amount of time, it starts lowering my self-esteem, because I know if I can make that decision of being disciplined. So for example, today when it was time to go to the gym, I was talking myself out of it. And as I got into the gym and then started doing my first workout and then got focused, leaving the gym, I was feeling on cloud nine, completely amazed at the fact that I overcome any negativity that was trying to stop me from going to the gym. So that becomes a nice source of building my self-esteem. And then there's other bits that you can build your self-esteem from, is that as men, I think we do not have close friends that we can share different things. So for example, I'm part of a few groups on Facebook, but I'm not saying go to Facebook to get a source of self-esteem, but I also have physical places where I go. So for example, I go for Muay Thai, which is, I know it's kind of being in the gym, it's kind of like training, but I've made really, really good friends over there. And by developing that new skill of fighting and being able to defend myself, that, because it's very difficult when you walk into the gym for the first time, it's probably the most intimidating thing, because these guys that are very skillful. And then as you learn the skill, and you're going to be completely rubbish, but as you learn the skill over time, it builds your confidence in yourself. Because again, we don't have these things that are the confidence comes from putting yourself into a comfortable situations where you can grow. So I can see from this guy, he, because of the way he does the dishes and does everything, he's doing everything to keep her happy. So he never makes time for himself, and by not making time for himself, he gets to obsess over the fact that he's not having sex, which becomes the most destructive thing. So the fact that he's now spending more time with them and he's got lack of sex, yes, to answer the question, does the lack of intimacy lower your tolerance? So your tolerance towards the children becomes really low, you become really short, you don't listen to what they're saying, you don't become engaged as a parent, you cause friction with the children and they don't want to be around you because you're really all about the fact that you have lost your self-esteem and you're quite angry with life and yourself and your wife, and you just resentment towards everything. So the other bit is also the fact that you with your wife, maybe you might not be resolving real conflicts because you're trying to not upset the apple cart. So for example, if you've got boundaries, you're not going to be setting boundaries, because if you do set any boundaries, you think, I'm going to go further into being in a sexless relationship. So you become more of a puppet, or move like a puppet. And because of that, again, it stops you from having sex, because all of a sudden she's not having the resistance from you. She's not respecting you. And I'll finish it off with this story. This week we had a bit of an argument with my wife, and with that argument, it was just us really re-establishing boundaries. To be fair, when she works in a school, and I think I've already said this story. She works in a school, and my child is also off, so they've now closed school for the summer. And generally, when they do have these sort of half terms where they shut the school, I would normally get home at around 7 a.m. I would go and have a sleep, and then I'll sleep till about 11 or 12, and then I'd get up and then go and do something. So I've altered the way I train, where I need to actually go train straight after work. So because I didn't want to do that where I sort of sleep and then wake up and then go to the gym and then try and sleep again. I wanted to try have a continuous sleep. So because of that, I was getting home at about 8:30, 9 o'clock, because I'd have gone for the workout, and she said, it's time for us to go somewhere. Let's go and do something. And I was like, I don't really think I'm up to going anywhere. So the weekend before, she said, I told her that, I would wake up and we'll do stuff. But I didn't mention the fact that maybe she needs to give me a pre-warning the day before, so I don't go to the gym, and then I can focus on me resting and then going away. So we ended up getting to this point where she wanted to go somewhere. I'd gone to the gym, I'd not rested, and I'm now trying to put this across that, okay, I haven't rested, I need to rest. I know you want us to go to a place, and I do want to go to this place. So we tried to negotiate and so on, and she was really, really frustrated with it. And the crux of the whole conversation ended up being me trying to put a boundary on it, saying, she's trying to force the issue, but I said, but no, I'm not going to do it, because there's obviously potential risks. If I don't sleep and then I have to travel, it can be catastrophic in that term. So I had to really put place a boundary, which is not pleasant, because it's not pleasant for her. It wasn't pleasant because I'd already said something, and I'm now going back on what I'd said. Anyways, I've given you the backstory, but what was happening over there was it ended up becoming this interaction. But because I'm not so invested in the fact that I need to have sex, and so I'm not going to place any boundaries. I could have easily gone to keep the peace, but I did place the boundary. And by placing the boundary, while she didn't like it, and while it was not a pleasant interaction, eventually we actually realized that, okay, that boundary was to keep me safe, and it was not such a bad thing for me to do so. And she actually gave me the space that I needed to actually go and get some rest. The day after, we were cool, everything was fine, and we still had sex. Again, which I'm trying to say that it doesn't having conflict within the relationship, and I'm not saying now go home and have conflict, but what I'm trying to say is that if you continuously bend your will to suit your partner, what will happen is that they will not trust you, and they will not respect you, and then you will continue the cycle of having sex. So like this guy doing the laundry and doing all the cooking, and then not even making time for himself, is a massive factor. And this is why he's not tolerant to anything, because he doesn't have any source of actually putting any boundaries on. So, and I'm guessing, by the way, but I know it's speaking to some of you guys in your situation. So I think we're going to end the episode here. I don't even know how much how far I've gone, but yes, 13 minutes. So it's a bit longer than I normally go, but hopefully it's something that was helpful for you guys. Thank you very much for listening for this episode. If you want to learn more, go to our Facebook group, Thriving Tribesmen, where you're going to learn how to really reignite your relationship, and there's opportunities for you to actually have a custom seduction blueprint where it's going to be completely free. You come to us, we have a phone conversation, we talk about what's going on within a relationship, what you've tried, and the goals that you're setting for your relationship. And then while we learn more about your relationship, we then give you a custom plan so that you can go and then do those tasks. As you do those tasks, then you go and when it works, it's up to you whether you want to come back for another call. If you want to come on another call, you've got an opportunity to do so. And then at that point, that's when we're going to introduce you to the Reignited Men. And again, we won't introduce it. We're not going to sell you to Reignited Men. You'll be invited to actually join. So it's not for everyone. We're not taking anybody and everybody. So we're actually hand selecting people that are coming in. So don't be afraid to go to the custom blueprint or trying to come to the custom blueprint. So thank you very much for listening. Seeing you soon. Take care.